satin and lace, not a hair out of place. She's such a beautiful lady who's dancing with me. With irresistible charms, she spins around in my arms. Can you see how lucky I am? Hopping and bopping and loving together till midnight. Hugging and kissing all evening, I'm holding her tight. I'm on top of the world, the sun is shining on me. The girl I love is dancing.
Hello and welcome to Da Dao Chun. I am your host, Alana. Now, most of us know this place for being a crazy festive place for shopping on Chinese New Year or for its beautiful architectural buildings from the 19th century. However, today also happens to be the 1920s annual costume parade. We're going to do a ton of fun activities on the street, but for now, we're going to check out the parade first. Dadaocheng was the most prosperous area in northern Taiwan during the early 20th century. Cultural groups along Dihua Street have creatively initiated a costume parade based on the theme of the 1920s. It is hoped that this event will remind people of Dadaocheng's prosperity during its heyday.
台湾的文化运动的年代，当时呢有文化协会在大稻埕成立，然后呢把这个人权、把这个新的科学、新式的观念传播到整个台湾。那我们希望大家呢，通过打扮成1920年代你最喜爱的人物，来更多的去了解台湾的历史，然后呢回到那个年代去回顾过去，那也去思考我们的未来。这就是我们举办1920变装游行的目的。
现场民众也可以跟着音乐一起打拍手。
In the 1850s, a landlord from Keelung came and bought this area, used for as a large rice crop yard. And that's the reason why it's called Da Dao Cheng. So this parade, we walk in this area because this is where this area started with this temple and everything. Yeah. Through like it's by the river, you see, earlier, right? So then there's a port, and that's where all the commercial trading starts in this area of Taipei. And they were trading sugar, tea, and camphor. And it's kind of like a cross-cultural thing, you see? You know, the building, and then Chinese herbal medicine. And then you think, so maybe like 100 years ago, right, in the 20s, there's actually like British, Dutch trading posts, the consulate.
Yeah.
So you see Caucasian walking down next to, you know, Japanese, local Taiwanese, all sorts of people. That's the first time, you know, Taiwan gets this kind of westernization, you know, through music, through trade, and through just basically cultural idea exchange. So it's great. That's why this area, it's just something different in Taipei, that's for sure. It's one of a kind.
Look at the building.
And the most important part is like a lot of the famous the trade houses or now like the food companies come. And it's a very, very beautiful building. You can see all the carving. Yeah, and it's like all from the 1920s, you know, very Baroque style, colonialization style. Yeah.
Also very narrow, so many
And the
shops.
column. Back then, like the column's very important. And the carving. Because the carving shows how rich the family is, how wealthy.
Really?
Yeah, because the craftsmanship.
More carving is more wealthy?
Yes. And we won't have this, once again, cultural exchanges, you know. Like I said, you know, this is about culture, creativity, yet 1920s serves as the core. You know, we want it to be the core of our future creativity. So I think it's something important. You know, when we go see a piece of painting, you design something, you have to remember your core, your story, and where you're coming from. That's the roots.
Definitely helping keep the traditions and the past alive. After a fun trip to the 1920s, I changed back into my 2014 clothes and decided to check out the fabric market here. Behind me is one of the biggest fabric markets in Taiwan, and I've been told there are a lot of exciting stuff here. So let's go check it out. Any mention of Dihua Street must include the famous Yongle fabric market. Garment industries now buy large quantities of fabric from the market and ship them to their factories to make clothes for their business. Now I know what you're thinking. You and I, we've both been to fabric markets before. Well, this one is particularly unique because not only did it open around close to 100 years ago, but it offers a range so extensive that wholesalers are willing to flock here and drive a couple of hours just to buy fabric here. Some of them even willing to fly from other countries in Southeast Asia. Ted is here to tell me a bit more about that. So I know that before we came in here, we were talking a bit earlier, and you were actually telling me that your brother-in-law's grandfather used to come here just to buy fabric from Malaysia.
Yes.
Why would he come all the way here instead of somewhere closer by?
Because Taiwan has the most extensive products of textiles, so it's easier for him to kind of pick the fabrics he wanted to wholesale back in Malaysia. Plus, the quality of the Taiwanese fabrics is world-renowned, right? So you can see here, there's like 100% cotton, tablecloth, or any kind of fabrics here. So I think that's the reason why people will travel so far. And as you can see, we have a lot of the Japanese tourists.
See, right now we're surrounded by people. There was a Japanese woman behind me. Can you tell me what most people would use these fabrics for? Like, what products do most people make with?
Because of the pattern is very like vivid. So most of the time people use it for curtain, seat covers, duvet covers, pillowcases, tablecloths. So it's like a very home furnishing style.
After walking around here, I'm just overwhelmed and blown away just by how many designs and patterns there are here. During peak season, there's over 1,000 stores in this fabric market alone, and you can use all these fabrics and materials to make whatever designs or products you want. Oh, wow. Take a look at this chrysanthemum flowers. Now, if I understand the staff owner correctly, these are both used for different functions of the body. For example, this particular chrysanthemum is used to bring down the fever, and this one is used to treat eye infections. They just smell really nice, and they're really good for tea. Hello! Oh, he's so polite! Wow, look at that! So cute! Ni hao! Tourists nowadays have the option of visiting various shops created by emerging artists. The first place I decided to check out was this unique bookstore focusing on Dadaochang in the 1920s. Let's step inside. First, before we get into the subject of the bookstore, can you tell me the meaning behind the name 1920s?
Sure. So in 1920s, Dihua Jie, the Daocheng area, is the most popular, most prosperous area of Taipei. So that's why we believe 20s is such a symbolic era.
I noticed the theme of your bookstore is, of course, the 1920s, but yes. I noticed some of the books here are not from that era. Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a bit about your criteria? How do you choose the books that are going to be in your store?
So from 20s, you move on. One of them is literature. So there's one area of our bookstore that's dedicated to literature. There was in Chinese or foreign literature that's translated, and actually a lot of Japanese writers too. And then for design and from architecture, we have to talk about Bauhaus. And the fashion, we talk about Coco Chanel. People like
cover so many different cultures, like so a huge variety of cultures in your bookstore.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's kind of the main theme because in the 20s, people keep forgetting that it's so important to not only Taiwan, it's actually to human history.
Yeah. You can tell me a bit about the creative side of your store, the creative element behind your store?
Sure. So, I mean, as a bookstore, we sell books, obviously. And I think through the books, that serves as a core for like our modern design. Yeah. So right now we have, as you see on your hand right now, we have a postcards, right? So all these postcards is by artists who purchase kind of original picture online and then make it into postcards. And on the back, we have the little copyright things. We have a few lines of words. Yeah. And what we try to do is try to connect like even Western culture or that picture into our modern day life or into Taiwan's culture.
I've actually noticed that on a couple of your postcards, even if they're foreigners, but I can't read the back. Could you give us an example of one of them?
That's great. I mean, Louis Armstrong is
a famous musician.
Yeah, and then he's actually an American musician, right? So what he did was that through his music, he kind of combined the cultures between the blacks and the whites in the United States. So I think in Taiwan, there's a lot of the cultural things between, the local Taiwanese and the Taiwanese that came after the 49. So I think through a lot of art and culture and perhaps like puppet shows, they kind of combine and, harmonize the two cultures. So it's all the different kinds. And plus, I mean, without the foreigners too, we have local maps and olden Taiwan and pictures from that era.
You can actually...
I'm going to break it. So cute.
This one is made for kids, so you can see there's lots of different types.
Next, I'm taking you guys to check out this creative store that applies traditional Taiwanese elements onto fabrics. Hi, Eva.
Hi, Alana. And In Bloom is a young fabric design brand. However, the Dihua Street is a traditional old area.
There's so many old designs and buildings and products.
I think old and new, that will be a good combination. We designed the fabric and using the fabric to make some living accessories like this one. It's a bottle holder.
And why do you have the bird?
This is the first pattern of my brand. It's crest myna. Myna is one kind of native Taiwanese bird. However, it is distinct animal. So we try to remind people something almost disappeared. This is a table mat.
Wow. And look, take a look at all these Taiwanese food products.
We have unique food standing culture in Taiwan.
So cool. Cow for the beef soup.
Beef noodles.
So Emma introduced me to some of your most popular items in the store.
Oh, that must be this one.
Wow, what is it? Oh, it's a book cover.
It's a book cover, yes. If you don't want other people to see through what you are reading, use it. I will teach you how to do your own bag today.
I'm excited.
Use the screen printing skill. This is screen frame.
Okay. Wow, take a look at that. The pattern.
If we put the ink, go through it, it will stay on the back.
看他们有很多，看了，还有吗？还有一个，看这个三个。Choose the middle too.
The middle?
Right there?
Okay. Put the ink on the top of the pattern.
Okay.
And then you drag it down to here. And then stop.
Just
and
one time?
Just one time.
Okay.
And then take it out.
And whoops, that was not slow. Wow! You can actually see how the paint is coming on there. The store has managed to collect various retro Polaroid models. Through interaction with these cameras, visitors gain valuable insight in understanding how cameras operated back in the day.